So first of all, I'd like to point out that everything we say, you can verify. We are literally listed on the government's social media accounts. You know, our team, our pictures, our videos of us and our company. Our tech, you can go to dev.delnorte.io. You can play with it right now. There's also a bunch of videos that we have on all of our social media accounts, YouTube and X, where Ken explains how everything works. But yeah, tomorrow at 1400 UTC, which is 10 a.m. Eastern, we'll be listed on MEXC. And then anybody who buys a sufficient amount of our tokens can participate in a variety of levels in using our software, and they can actually adopt our software into their business right now and tokenize their business or tokenize their local church or their community and create a microeconomy with its own treasury and everything else like this functions today.
Yeah, actually, to be clear, so this is true. We are launching DTVC, which is our membership-based token, which allows the community members to participate at different levels in our development environment, actually help us develop the perfect property management system, which I'm actually looking at behind my phone camera here. And depending on the level of access you have, if you have a high enough level of access, you can create your own entity in the system, allowing you to create your own operational environment for your own company, your own entity, your own government network, if you happen to have one. And this is exciting for us. That token is eventually swappable to what our planned utility token is, DTV, which is a compliant token. It's swappable only for those who meet the conditions that we specify at terms.delnorte.io, which is any non-U.S. citizen or accredited U.S. citizen. We are respecting SEC regulation, no matter how nebulous it is at this time, because this is what we are. We want to support all governments equally and respectfully. So whatever their rules and conditions are, we comply. And it was quite a challenge to develop the smart contract system to do this, but we've endured, we've done it, and now we want to make this available as a blockchain service provider to other projects that really have been stifled with their ability to create technology because of their fear of the SEC. And so we endorse and embrace it, and actually creates a higher barrier to entry for others that we've hoped to overcome for others. So they can get on with their technology and get on bringing great things to market and bring us into the golden age of crypto.
I would like to double click on a word that Anton mentioned a little bit earlier, which is the word in the US, we're partnering at the county level. And I believe that is why I think your move to go or at least to start in developing countries is very smart. One of the issues with the US market is the quantity of red tape and the fact that, especially if we want to tokenize real estate, the laws and rules are different from one county to another. There's no overarching thing that says this is the US and everything is the same everywhere in the US, while in other countries that thing exists. And I think it gives more clarity, and it streamlines the processes much faster than if we have to comply with all the counties in the US. It's going to take decades to do so. And although the US is still the biggest market and the market with the deepest liquidity, and you guys are combining both, right? So you can tokenize RW assets in developing countries and still get the liquidity from US investors if they're accredited, which is actually the best of both worlds, I believe.
Yeah, actually, I just want to point out something that you said, and I'm glad you brought it up. You know, you're talking about the challenge of having to deal with the different nuances between counties in the US, and that's exactly right. And we have that same problem with municipalities and nations across the world. The point to mention here, as I mentioned earlier, is that this is not just a centralized CRM or what I call an enterprise desktop, because when you think CRM, you think about sending out a 50,000 email blast to prospects and clients, and that's it. You basically got 2 or 3 data models, data objects, and not a complete back-end solution and workflow management tool. But so what I want to point out here is this is a platform. This is not just a singular rigid data management tool for a fixed operational environment, but rather one in which any user could just add another column of data, add another data object, and on the front end and have it immediately point to data structures on the back end that are created on the fly. This is, you know, it was a huge undertaking, and it's there, it's available for everyone. So when we go into one county, we can then go into the next, and we can deal with all of these nuances that we couldn't expect until we actually get there. And to your point about other countries being a little bit more or more organized, I should say, you are correct. In fact, in El Salvador, based on their new initiative, the National Registry will be the single point of entry, and our system at the heart of it, right? We're in the final phase here to bring that to reality in El Salvador. And there are many other countries have the National Registry as the single source. And we don't have that yet in the United States, but we will, because the United States has to be the best at everything ultimately, right? And so they will not accept that all these other nations have wonderful technology and they don't. And they're still, you know, recording microfilm in the back room. One of the things I speak for the most, and maybe Trump will get on board this, is getting rid of property taxes and replacing it with municipal income tax, right? Because property taxes are a vestige of the past and have no reason to exist, whereas income tax makes sense, right? So for that to happen, Trump would have to make a push that municipalities no longer have the authority to collect X, but they do have the authority to collect Y, right? And Trump's the kind of guy to do it, right? Because it makes sense, and nobody has done this in the past. And this will, the point I'm driving home here, I seem to be digressing, but no, the point I'm driving home here is that with such a law in place, it brings rise to being able to develop a system at the national level that the municipalities have to use for getting access to data. With that system comes a whole bunch of opportunity, not just ensuring that properties really are represented correctly in a single source of entry and endorsed at the national level, not just at the municipal level, but that things like formulas for income tax collection for a property. If you own a house, what do you have in this world right now? We can't move our consciousness into the computer yet. The singularity isn't quite here yet. But what we can do is leave an inheritance to our children. But how can we do that if property taxes are so high? Rather, if you have an income tax, wonderful, but you no longer have income and you got your property, why shouldn't you be able to just keep your property and give it to your children as the last gesture in this world, right? Where they don't have to worry and they don't have to sell it, and you worked your whole life to get it, right? So we have a bigger plan here, right? And it's all part of the picture, and it's all happening now. It's actually materializing with real software, with real technology. So we're very excited about this. Hopefully Trump is watching.
I think one of the challenge which is ahead of you guys, but I guess it's a good challenge to have, is how to bring especially these sort of protocols, platforms to larger governments. I remember back in the day, it was, I guess, 2017 or 18, I was working with some governmental institutions in the MENA region, because I'm originally based in Dubai, on bringing exactly solutions similar to what we are discussing today. And what was a blocker at that point was basically replacing those, you said it's Excels. In their case, it was, let's call them Excel sheets.
Right.
And bringing this more sophisticated, a little bit more sophisticated know-how to those organizations, to those institutions. Some people, they still don't grasp what is blockchain used for, not even mentioning how to use a blockchain as a use case for real estate management, tokenization, fractionalization, this and that. Finally, I think we are seeing times where governments, they push for those educational efforts as well on their employees. So fingers crossed you'll be able to overcome exactly that.
Yeah, essentially that education is very important, but to the municipal employee, they're going to see this as a centralized system. They're not going to know that a copy of the entire records of the entire country are right there on their desktop as an IPFS node as part of an IPFS cluster, right? Which means the replication of data happens seamlessly. They barely know that that's happening. And by the way, a lot of people in this forum are from Dubai, so I have a challenge for the world here. We understand that Dubai's national registry is has reached out to their crypto development association, and they are either seeking or have potentially made a deal with a company that has no experience in this space to bring that national registry onto blockchain, having no idea what they're getting themselves into. We are up for that challenge, and we challenge any company about to undertake such a contract to go against our software, and we invite the Dubai government to look at us first before they sign anything. We would love the opportunity to be able to tokenize all of the national registry of Dubai in a compliant format that they're comfortable with, and give them the power and flexibility of such a system that we have.
And I will like to point something else out. Whether we sign something with UAE or not, we are in talks with other Middle Eastern countries, and we will be signing something, perhaps even this year, with one of the Middle Eastern countries.
It's interesting to think
because in the space, people are associating RWA with the ability to do what we do, and there's literally no association possible without a very robust centralized system and an understanding of real estate compliance, judiciary responsibilities, and municipal interactions.
I think one of the main drivers of decentralization was having trust around centralization. So if you guys are able to provide a decentralized platform and system, technically operating system, and you are still basing it on the centralized data, which is what seems to be happening, I think that again bridges the perfect gap between this is why we all are in this space, because we believed in decentralization, we believed in trust, we believed in transparency, immutability, etc. Being able to provide that bridge over, I think, is an amazing mission statement by you guys. My next question, really final question, is how do we get involved with you? How do we get in touch? How can companies and funds? I see you guys have your crypto rank raise here. You guys have filled some public rounds. I can see by some funds. What are some of the ways we can work together? How do we get in touch? How do we get involved?
Well, it just so happens I just had a deep conversation with your CFO on your side, actually, at IBC, and we are happy to exchange personal details. AG at Delnorte.io is Anton. Ken at Delnorte.io is mine, and we're open to any partnership suggestions. I'm happy to give everyone my phone number. I'm old school. WhatsApp is the way for me, even though we're forced to deal with Telegram with everyone out there in the industry. Those who know me well communicate with me on WhatsApp, and I take phone calls day or night, and Anton is the same.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I will tell you this. We've done, I think, like 10 or 11 launch pads now. We've sold out all of them. Our token launch is on MEXC tomorrow. But if you are, looking for a bigger deal than just, buying some tokens on an exchange, you can reach out to us directly. And our information is on our website, Delnorte.io. We are currently raising money. We do, I will have to point out that we do already have offers that are in due diligence right now from VCs. So those will probably be closed in the next couple of weeks.
Very exciting product, guys. And I really, really support what you're doing. Like I said, I tried to do it with multiple firms years ago. We couldn't get it done. I'm proud to see you guys are getting it done. And like I said, I want to be involved and kind of speak to you on the backside and see how we can maybe build some synergies together. I have a lot of business out there.
This July would be 8 years that we're doing this. Non-stop.
And it takes that time. That's why some of these other firms didn't survive. We tried to do it for a year, 2 years. We're like, no, it's not going to work. Too much bureaucracy. I'm proud to see, like I said, you guys have gotten it. Yeah, clearly it takes a long time. And here you are. And congratulations, you're getting this far.
Thank you.
been a good conversation up to this point. If you are out there watching on X, I hope you've been commenting along on the live feed and under the post on the main account. We do read back and check those comments, so thank you for participating. Also, if you're a project or you represent a project and you're out there watching this thinking, man, I would love to have a conversation about the things I am interested in, you can send a message to the account that's currently live right now. Send a DM and say, hey, I was watching the show with Delnorte and I want to have a conversation about the following things. Let them know. We'll put together a panel. Me and Buzz and the team would love to have that conversation with you. Doesn't matter what blockchain you're on. We've been doing it since 2017, and we'd love to set something up with you. And also make sure you follow the link that is available for the Discord server for IBC. IBC has a Discord server. It is the place to network with guests and hosts from these shows, and also to follow up on employment opportunities. We're always looking for writers, hosts, and content creators. So please check out the links to IBC. The website for Delnorte is as it's spelled in the top right, delnorte.io, and then on X it's spelled the same, Delnorte_IO. That would be how you follow along. Is there anything else that you guys want to cover that we did not ask any questions about before we go, Ken?
Yeah, one of the things that's in our, I know you asked about our milestones that we're gonna be doing in the upcoming 5 years or so. One of the things that we are building in phase 2 is an app store. So imagine like an app store on your iPhone or your Android, where anybody can build an app and interact with everybody on the network. So we will have an API so that anybody can come in and build an application or an AI bot to interact with the entire government data, whether it's passports or deeds or car titles. If you want to gather, if you want to see how many farms there are, and if you're a farmer and if you want to monetize your carbon credits, because there's a simple formula on how much carbon sequestering happens from your corn or whatever. Now you'll be able to use this third-party application because we provide the API and sell your carbon credits from your farm directly into the global market. And that is basically making money out of thin air, so to speak.
It's amazing.
That is coming in the next 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, I have to say, even right now, which I don't know any other project who's done this, but with the purchase of DTVC tomorrow, 1400 MEXC on the exchange, we invite you all in to come participate. After which, if you go to dev.delnorte.io, you can participate in our project, as we said. But one of the things you could do if you played around with one of the data objects is you'll see there's a setting for calling, and if you added your Twilio account information, then which we might have set up for demo purposes for this entity, you would actually be able to have an AI agent as part of that phone call, albeit in its infancy, not ready for engagement for your actual clients yet, but very, very close. It would actually appear and talk, and you'd hear it in the conversations. So this is actually interesting that our users, our community members can actually.
You're frozen. I think I was trying to say is basically you'll be able to talk to the government, but not to the people in the government, to the actual government data. So
I see that here. I see Miami-Dade. I see El Salvador. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So directly, I could essentially put a query in through here.
Yeah, you'll be able to say, hey, how many houses are on the street that are owned by a guy in his mid-40s or whatever it is, and the AI will just pull it up. And any combination of the government information. Yeah. I think Ken.
Ken still looks frozen over there. I wonder if we'll get him back in time, but he's still frozen.
The Hamptons are not known to have good Wi-Fi.
All right, Buzz, you got a question too?
Yeah, just as a final question for myself here, it was regarding the experience of the team. Like, I know that Anton, you and Ken are on the call, but who else is a part of it, and what's the background of the whole team that's working on this?
So I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've done a lot of real estate and a bunch of other deals over the years. I've got a brewery. I've produced movies. One of them made it to the Oscars. I've Well, I've had an oil company, and then the last 8 years I've been just focused on this. And Ken is a serial tech entrepreneur. Because if you guys know Sophia the robot, you know that, yeah. So he and Ben Gersel co-created it. And he was also the co-founder of Singularity University along with Ben. And then on our marketing side, we have Danny Dudaev. If you guys know, it's a project out of Switzerland called Swissborg. It was the number one. It was the number one project in Switzerland. They raised, I think, 40 million francs or 42 million francs. So he was the CMO of that company during the raise, and now he's my CMO.
Wow.
So
Good.
we have
you have pretty strong backers and very tenured team.
What was the movie, Anton?
There's a couple. One of them is the one that won that made it to the Oscars is called Wishman. It's about it's a true story of the founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh wow, that's very impressive.
Yeah, you can see my IMDb.
Excellent, man. Well, I appreciate that you brought Delnorte here. I think we had a conversation once already, so I'm glad we got a chance to run it back around. Sorry we lost Ken there at the end, but my best wishes to Ken and also to Anton from Delnorte. Thank you for pulling up and being a sponsored guest on the show. Also, AK, Matt, and Femi for being part of the panel. You guys know when you follow people on here, their name here is often their profile on X. If you want to connect with AK or Matt or Femi, find them on X, get connected the same way over there. At IBC, we are lucky enough to get to do these shows, Buzz and I, but there's a team of people that put these things together. Nearly 200 people putting out news content, like 69 minutes every Sunday, the news broadcast on X and all that stuff. We're very fortunate to be here. Myself, I'm very happy and thankful for this. And Buzz, thank you for helping me co-host this one today. You ready to close it out?
If I could have on that unmute button, I'd be ready to close it out. But yeah, this is a great show. It was excellent to have the Delnorte team and, of course, AK, Matt, and Femi as well. If people are tuning in the audience, make sure to find these folks on X. Some of them have similar names up here as they do have on X, so make sure you give them a follow. These aren't the only shows that they're attending. They're probably attending shows all around the X sphere, and they're dropping all alpha in all of those shows, so make sure that you give them a follow and follow Delnorte as well. So thanks everyone for joining, and let's cross our fingers for a green daily close here.
Yes.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.